Life Prison Wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping because you got to hold your breath for justice, to see justice before our face too bleak. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Give me 1 second. All right, guys. All right, guys. Anyways, I am coming through today. It is November the 14th. No, it's not. Girl, I keep forgetting I did never set my time back. It is still November the 13th, 2025, but I got about one more hour before it actually turns to November the 14th. So, before I started work, I said I was going to talk about the fear of flying, basically. More specifically, for me, it correlates to the fear of trying again or starting over, right? Starting over can be a quite fearful event in life. But many times life does cause for us to have to start over. Anyways, let me do my little intro first. What it is, you guys, it is your girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Drama Light Prison Wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping because you got to hold your breath for justice, to see justice before our face too bleak. Is his your girl Cadillac. Anyway, think I could cut this, you know, so you don't have to hear my motor. Yeah, it's cool. It's not hot. So I guess I don't need to have the car running. But, anyways, guys, I was talking about the fear of basically starting over again. A specific time that I had to start over was when, at age 32, when I had my slip and fall. I worked for a company for 11 years, and that came to an end when they tried to get rid of me because I basically got hurt on their property. I started completely over making minimum wage. I didn't before ever, as a single mother, qualify for food stamps. I know that was just the hot topic last week. I never qualified for food stamps, though I worked and I put into that system, right? But I finally did qualify for food stamps at that time once I lost my job and went to making minimum wage. Because when you build yourself up on a job, if you lose the job, you start over at ground zero. It's not like you can stay on that same level and go somewhere else. Almost like when, even if you weren't fired allegedly, but you just decided, I don't want to work here no more. After a certain amount of time, it gets harder to just leave that job because you know that you have certain benefits. You may have health insurance. You may have 401ks. You may have certain stocks and things that you would not have if you left that job and went to another job. You're starting back over at ground zero. That's why I guess it is better to just have your own business, right? Because I mean it grows, and once it doesn't, like, you don't just start all over. Like, it just grows. It grows as you grow it, right? But when you're going job to job, it doesn't grow like that. Like, you're starting over. You're not starting at your level most times. And even if you're starting in the same job level, you've most likely grew in that job level. So you'll be starting over at whatever the lowest rank at that last job was, right? So it was so scary for me to start over. But I had to. I was forced into starting over. And the one thing is that I know I never would have left if I hadn't got hurt and was they started trying to fire me. I probably still would be working there. Cuz like I tell you, you get stuck in a loop sometimes doing the same thing, doing the same job. You want to break free, but somehow the time doesn't allot you to because you get off of work, you're tired. You get back, you wake up, it's time to go back to work, right? So it's a continuous loop. And then when you're off days are not just lay back days and chill days. They're usually days to catch up on everything that you fell behind on through your busy work week, right? So it's rarely any time to rest, to plan, because sometimes you need strategic planning to get out of it. So it's like just stuck in an orbit, a loop, and it kind of just takes your time. And time will pass faster, it seems like, when you're in a loop. And then you look up and you're like, dang, where did the time go? So I know I would have still been stuck in that loop most likely if God hadn't allowed this to happen and it completely just broke the loop. I used to talk about going back to college. So like I always desired to go back to college. Talked about it. I even went visited some schools. I I would do so much stuff. I would research, but I would never end up enrolling into school. Right? The process never followed through. That moment I hit rock bottom and was forced to start over, I said then that, well, I'm at the bottom now. I might as well do what I've always wanted to do. Because many of the things that we really want to do, we don't step out to do them because of the fear of letting go with what we have now. Because what we have now sustains us. And though it is not where we really want to be, you get fearful when you have to let that go. So you have to start over, right? So starting over has a lot of fear. But then also, once you start over, trying again has a lot of fear too. Now, my aspect of that was my testimony of starting over and basically it being completely filled with fear. But I did, and basically that's the only reason I went to college. Like, I literally would not have, there's no way I could have done college with that job. That job was not flexible whatsoever. They tried to write me up because I went to my sister's brain surgery. They tried to write me up for that. Say I did not give them enough notice. And my sister was having brain surgery. So that tells you how much they really care about yourself and your family. They don't care nothing about you. So that's starting over. It kind of ties in with having to start over with trying again. So specifically, in my life where I had to try again is I always just tried to, I just wanted, I never really wanted the most. I feel like I wanted very minimum out of life. Very minimum. I just wanted a family, that we loved each other. I wanted to be an artist, and that's about it. I just wanted to be able to take care of myself. That's it. Those are things that I see many people do every day, all day. So it's not too much to ask for. But it has been so challenging for me to ever achieve that. So I've always had to start over. I do plan A. Plan A, I will see it all the way through. Like I'm telling you, in anything I do, I go full force, my whole heart into it. If I got to miss sleep, if I got to sacrifice money, if I got to, no matter what I got to do, if the dream is achievable, I'm going to do everything in my power to achieve that dream. And I always thought that these things could be achieved. Now, I did not factor in that this society that we live in, allegedly, works against us being successful and having just that simplified life, that alleged American dream. It's crazy. The dream is marketed to us, allegedly, but then they go back and try to obstruct us from achieving that dream by any means, allegedly. Artists all through school, they don't promote people being artists. They don't pour into artists. An artist is lost during school. Most artists barely even make regular, like, decent grades. Like, I used to have to try my hardest to just be an average C student. And when I brought home straight C's, everybody was like, well, we know that's, Keita did her best. There is not much that, as you're growing up, that pours into your creativity. And over the time, they have taken much of the little things that we had that poured into our creativity. They've allegedly extracted that from school too, to make it even harder for artists of the future, right? Like, as far as less art classes, less music classes, less hands-on activities, less of different things that really drove that creativity, because that's the only thing I really enjoyed in school. And then that was my escape, my outlet. I was bullied in school. If I did not have an art class to offset all that bullying, I would have went crazy. So it's not really conducive of art and creativity. So if those are the things that I excel in, and the only thing that they're pushing me to do is be academically, well, I was great at English though. English and reading, those were my two, and art and stuff like that. But what hope is it for you when your whole upbringing, you're basically made to kind of shun your creativity, to downplay that? And even when I was going to college, my parents, they was like, no, I knew I was great at doing hair before I had the carpal tunnel. They was like, nope, you're not doing that. Nope, that doesn't make any money. Your whole, what you we're put on this earth for is pushed to the side, and you have to downplay it because you have to pick something that makes money. But I'm not good at those things that make money. I was a creative, but it wasn't cultivated, it wasn't watered, it wasn't, so it never grew in that manner, right? So you're already made to be what you're not. So my career, having to start over and over, pouring everything into it. My cosmetology career, pour everything into that. Someone reminded me the other day that the styles that they see today, there's like, I know you created that. You did that trend. And I was like, yeah, I did. I surely did. I ain't get no recognition for it. Nobody even knows that was me, but that was me. But there at least is one witness to say that, yeah, you actually did do that. You started that. But to put everything into a cosmetology career and have to start over, it didn't work. You got carpal tunnel, you got nerve damage. You're not going to be able to act in this career. Music, baby, just as much as I put into my cosmetology career, I put into music. My gosh, I poured everything into my music. And at that time, I really thought the music industry was about talent, because you couldn't have found nobody with more talent than I have. You really couldn't have. But I find out now it's more about, just like justice system allegedly is about politics and willing and dealing allegedly. Music industry has it's the same kind of components, just a different industry. And it's not as straightforward and fair like you think it is. Okay, I gotta let the music go. I mean, time and time again, career-wise, I've went fully through, and I guess it's because I'm still trying to pursue these creative fields, right? That I don't excel. Maybe that's what it is. I have to actually pursue something that is not in the field of creativity. But with each try and fail, it gets so much harder to try again, because it is so difficult to make your mind forget that, hey, I poured my all into something and my all wasn't good enough. I failed. Okay, you can gather yourself. Try again. Pour your all into this thing, and then you fail. Like, dang, it gets really hard to forget now. This is the second time, third time's a charm. You put your all into it, and then you fail. You start thinking, maybe it's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm not meant to achieve. And then what messes you up, you will see someone that does what you do. They may not even pour as much energy. Usually they're pouring way less energy than you into it, and you will see it work for them. You'd be like, and I know you got to keep them blinders on, stay in your lane. But real talk, you see it. You like, well, dang, like, how it was so easy for them? And then people tell you what's for you is for you. But all you end up seeing that be for you is a tough struggle, crazy, off the wall challenges and battles that you don't see other people going through. And you're like, well, hold on now. Is it only bad things that are for me? And you don't want to be in that mindset. You don't want to be negative. I've been told I was negative my whole life. And I never seen myself as being negative. I see myself as being a realist, basically like a reporter. If I say I tried a cosmetology career and it failed, they call that negative. I feel like I'm just telling you what happened. I tried, that stuff didn't work, it failed. That's just reporting it. That's not negativity. And then I tell you the next thing that I tried and I failed, and then people just label it negativity, which I really don't see it as that, because anybody negative, first, anytime I go after anything, I don't go after it thinking I'm going to fail. I know that it's going to work. You know how I knew I was going to get my husband home. I knew he was wrongfully incarcerated. I'm going to get him on. I knew it. It wasn't until the trial and error and the getting to this person and get it. It was so many times I was like, I just got to get it to the right person. I just got to get this story to the right person. And then I meet that person that I thought would be the right person. And then they kind of do nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, I just knew. I just knew. So I go into everything so positive. I know it's going to work. And then when it doesn't, it do hurt. And I backtrack and I be like, well, I should have known. Man, I should have known that wouldn't work. But then I get the next idea and I just know that's going to work. So I had to start over many times in life, like with many different aspects of my life. I had to start over. But the one thing for me, the reason I keep starting over, no matter what it is, like even when Marcello comes home, however he comes home, whether it's through playing out his wrongful conviction or it's through finally breaking his story, that will be a start over. That's going to be starting over. We will be starting over being a family. Though we've been a family with bars in between us and distance and time and miles and so much in between us. Plexiglass. We've had plexiglass behind us. We had the several inch thick glass, that first distance between us when our daughter was young and she would jump at that thick glass and she would look like, why won't daddy get me? So we had that thick glass between us. You had to put your hand up on the thing. You touch hands in between thickness like that. We've had gates between us. We've had barbed wire between us. We've had county lines between us. We almost had state lines when they put them up there almost by Alabama. Cities between us. So much between us. But to come back to being a family together, both of us out here in this so-called alleged free world, that's going to be starting over. That would be like us going back to 2002, back where we left off. It's going to be a start over. He's going to be starting over. He's missed so much. I remember Strong Prison Wife, Ro Clausen. She was saying her man is like the Encino Man. Girl, when you go to prison and decades pass, and when you get out, that is what it's like. And I know Marcello left in 2002. That is going to be starting over. For real. So, but the reason it is fearful to always have to start over. But the reason that I see it through is because I'm not satisfied with that level, right? That bottom level. I've never been satisfied with being just having barely enough, just barely making it, just barely. I've never been satisfied with that because I know how much potential I really have. I know the amount of potential. And to not achieve that potential, it doesn't, that don't sit well with me. Because if it wasn't the obstructor, now I'm getting a vision, okay, of how to imagine it. Have you ever been in one of those lazy rivers, and there's jets that kind of force your boat, your float, even if you're out in the lazy river by yourself, you can still feel those jets, right? And they have a such thing as a rapid lazy river. I remember when my daughter, we went to Aquatica. She's thinking it was funny to keep going around the lazy river because it's hard to get out of it, because it's the force is coming so fast towards you that when the exit comes, it's hard to get out. And if they miss it, I've seen many times people trying to pull the person, because the current is so hard, trying to pull them back towards the exit because they don't want to keep going around. But my daughter, because I was legally blind and did not have my contact at that time, I could not see her. And every little girl, I promise, looked just like her. So she thought it was funny that because I can't see her to pull her out, she just keeps going around and around. So, but she was a little girl at that time, girl. But the way this society is, allegedly, remember I said works against us allegedly? I see it as that current pushing, that force. And we're coming pushing against the way that it's trying to force us. And we're trying with our might to be successful in this current that is trying to push us downstream. Right? That's how I see it. Like, with all my hard work, there is no way you don't reach success after everything I've done. There's no way after turning over every leaf. If there really was a justice system, allegedly, there is no way my husband would not be free. There's that force, and many allege the force does not exist. Oh, it's completely fair. Everything's completely equal. Everything is completely just. If you don't make it, you're just complaining. You just are being lazy. You're not trying hard enough. But I've never been okay, even though there are forces against me trying to stop me, trying to block me, trying to hold me down, trying to suppress me, trying to stop my story from going out, trying to muffle my voice, trying to keep me hidden, allegedly. I've never been okay with just being where somebody allows me to be. So I keep fighting. If I had to start over a million times, I will. But each start over, it does have fear. You start to, so at this time now, so I'll start over. I don't mind fighting. I don't mind what challenges I have to go through. But the fear of flying is setting in. The fear of trying and failing, trying and failing. So it almost becomes a reflex that you're going to, no matter what, you're going to try, you're going to fight, but you don't always believe in the end that you're going to achieve it. It's just second nature. You're going to fight. It's going to come. We're going to fight it. We're going to do all we can do. But you start to lose somewhat of the faith that you would actually achieve that thing. I don't know if that made any type of sense, but that's my testimony. Don't even know if my testimony makes any sense. But that is what I've been through in my life with trying, failing, and then slowly losing the faith that some things would come about in the end, that victory will come, that success will come. And I don't believe it's from being negative. I believe it's more so being human. Human needs positive reinforcement. Humans need to know that, hey, when I do this, this does happen. When I believe, I am rewarded for that believing with actually achieving. If every time you believe you never achieve, it's going to be hard. That's programming your subconscious to believe that even your best try won't be good enough, right? But that's what I got on that topic right now. All right, guys. It's your girl Cadillac.